Stop hoping nothing goes wrong and start planning with some simple categories and some easy plan B action. In this video, I'm going to share with you how retreat leaders stay calm under pressure and how you can be prepared so that you don't feel like you're bracing for impact. A lot of people, when they walk into events, they go into it thinking that everything's going to stay on schedule. But the reality is, events are live productions. Things happen, things change, and you have to be able to adapt quickly. Things like vendors running behind, flights being changed, weather not cooperating, setups taking longer than you thought they would, sessions needing a little bit of extra time, and tech deciding it's doing its own thing. None of this means that anything is unraveling. All it means is that the event is happening in real time with real people, with real situations. The pressure, though, comes from something happening and all the details are in your head and you just thinking, well, I'll just wait till it happens and figure it out. But when change happens, even a small one, your body can feel it. You start to seize up. Your thoughts speed up and you find yourself no longer focused on what it was you were supposed to be doing. That reaction isn't something to be concerned about. It's perfectly natural, especially if you haven't put a plan in place. Retreat leaders who stay steady through these moments aren't lucky. What they've done is they put a plan in place, gives them an idea of what they can do if that situation should happen. For instance, if the arrival of someone important runs late, then we're going to start with this instead. If this runs over, then we can trim this over here. If the tech glitches, then we're going to pivot into this. It's quiet, practical readiness and not anything dramatic. And once you acknowledge that these things will happen and you kind of have an idea of a basic plan, things start to feel a little bit easier and the event starts to feel a little less unstable. They become easy pivots that you and your team can make. Contingency planning isn't about anticipating disaster. It's about removing the pressure of carrying it all by yourself. Let's make this uncomplicated because it really is. All that contingency planning is simply, if this happens, then we're going to do this. It's nothing dramatic, it's nothing heavy, it's nothing rooted in fear. It's just an approach that is used a lot of time in corporate events, in hospitality, and in large conferences. Professionals build light, realistic backup options, and then they run their event. And if you've ever planned an event or something outdoors, like a wedding, then you already know this. There's always a rain backup plan. And at some point, if it's raining, the venue is going to hunt you down to make a rain call. Ask me how I know. And a lot of people don't think about the need to have a plan. So when an issue arises, it seems bigger than it is. And suddenly that small change seems bigger than it should be. For instance, a short delay can change the rhythm. Guests turn to you looking for direction. Your team is then waiting for you to make clear instructions. And you're just trying to keep it all together and you're mentally sprinting trying to figure out what is a quick solution. The issue isn't your commitment or your attention to detail. It's simply that you weren't thinking about some of the things that might adjust, and that's completely normal. We plan with the hopes that everything's going to run smoothly, but the reality is that something, I want to say necessarily is going to go wrong, but there will be changes and shifts, and we have to be okay and be able to quickly to adjust to those. And you don't need a binder or some giant protocol. All you need is a way to be able to identify what those situations are, know what to do when they happen, and also know who to keep in the loop. And that's what lifts the pressure. You stop relying on hope and you start relying on a plan. One that supports you even if things need to be adjusted. And the moment that you put that in place, you start to move differently because you're no longer bracing for impact. You know that everything's going to work out. Here's where things get a little bit lighter. Everything falls into one of three categories. It's either logistical, experiential, or operational. Once you see these patterns, you're no longer operating thinking about 100 different separate problems. You're working inside a structure that makes sense. So let's start with number one, logistical. These are the practical timing adjustments that deal with real people and real vendors. Flights running late. Your guest speaker arriving behind schedule. The room isn't ready at the exact minute that you expected it to be. Meal service needs a few extra minutes. Setup runs. On their own, none of these seems dramatic. They just shift the way the day is going a little bit. And without any preparation, you might find yourself mentally rearranging things on the spot, rushing one segment and then stretching the next, feeling like every small detail is stacking on top of you. With a simple backup plan, it sounds more like, okay, our guest speaker is running late, that's fine. All we need to do is rearrange some things. So we'll do the welcome activity first, and then when the guest arrives, we'll go into that session. Or if the room needs more time, okay, we'll extend the break, let people spend some more time connecting with one another in the lobby. Retreat is still running smoothly, the guests are still having fun, connecting with one another, and you're focused on doing what it is that you are supposed to be doing in that particular moment. The second category is experiences. This right here is about the feeling in the room, the natural flow that people are moving through. The session goes longer than planned. People are feeling tired after a large meal. An activity didn't quite land the way that you thought it would in your mind. Guests clearly need more time to process and connect. You can tell the room is energized and wants to stay in that conversation and not move, and they're not ready to move on to the next topic. These are the moments that shapes the retreat's emotional tone. Without preparation, it's easy to cling to the agenda even if it's not the right moment, or feel space because you're not quite sure exactly what it is that they need, or feel the pressure to fix the vibe instead of actually guiding it. Imagine having a few quick small options instead, like a quick reflection prompt when the room's feeling a little bit saturated, a short reset moment for when the energy dips, a simple connection question for when the group wants to carry on the conversation. You're not locked into the content or to your schedule. You're reading the room, you're reading your audience, and your guests feel that. The third category is operational, and these are all the behind the scenes pieces that keep the retreat going. A mic cuts out. Your slides won't load. Materials aren't where they're expected to be. A team member isn't sure what it is they're supposed to be doing. A setup step gets missed. These moments don't just interrupt your timeline, it interrupts your focus. If roles aren't clear or people don't know how to handle things, you're going to find yourself being the ones who's answering the tech questions, searching for answers, stepping away from the room so that you can get something quietly resolved. But when you prepared for this, it looks different because you've got someone on the team who's handling the tech, someone who's owning the guest support, someone who's communicating with the venue, and everyone knows who to talk to when something changes. Issues still happen, but they're not landing on you. You don't need a master list of what ifs. All you need to do is ask if this is logistical, if this is experiential, or if this is operational. Once you know the category, the next step becomes clearer. That's how professionals keep things steady. They keep things in a structure. So let's turn this into something that you can actually use. You don't need an elaborate system, you don't need a binder, you just need a simple plan B action plan. Here's a simple framework that you can build in under 15 minutes. Step 1, name your big 5. Every retreat has a few anchor points where basically these are the pieces that if something happens, they do have some kind of impact or trickle down effect. For example, how your guests arrive and enter a space, how the day opens, how and when your guests eat, how sessions and activities are handled, how tech supports what you're doing, how speakers or facilitators move throughout their segments, how vendors and venues may affect your retreat. Choose 5 that feel the most essential for your retreat. Those are the areas with the small hiccups that might affect the room. Step 2, ask these 3 questions for each. 1, what's the most realistic issue here? We're not talking about any dramatic scenarios, but think about things that have happened in the past or things that could potentially happen. For instance, your speaker might arrive late. The room might not be set up on time. Meal service could be running behind. Question 2, if that happens, who needs to hear about it first? This could be your support team, your venue contact, your vendor, your co-host, your tech lead, whoever is in charge or has ownership of that particular item. Step 3, What is the backup move? What is one simple way you can adjust the situation? It doesn't need to be a paragraph, just a simple step of what is the next thing we're going to do. Once you've done this, you've basically created your own contingency plan, which brings us to step 3, making sure that it's accessible. Whether it's one page, a notes app, or a digital page. You have one goal, and that is to list your 5 anchors, list the likely issues, list who needs to be notified, and list the backup move. This because you're just in case guide. It doesn't need to be pretty, but it does need to be easily accessible to not just you, but your team. This is what helps to keep small issues small. So the final step, step 4, is to loop in your team. Even if your team is one person for the weekend, they need this information to walk them through what the anchors are, what might come up, who they need to talk to, and what the plan is. Once they have this, you're no longer the only one who knows what the plan and the adjustments are. You don't have to be the bottleneck. You're no longer the automatic problem solver for every moment. You built a system that responds with you and doesn't rely on you. When something changes during a retreat, your words weigh just as much as the actions you take. There's the situation, and then there's how you guide people through it. You don't need to have some kind of crisis language. You just need to have some kind of way to update your team, as well as updating your guests without creating any unnecessary tension. And here's something I want to make sure is very clear. Your guests should never see you panic. If you need to have a moment to have a little freak out, you want to do that behind the scenes backstage. When you're on stage and in front of your guests, you are setting the tone. They need to see you calm and steady so that they themselves don't begin to panic. So let's start with your support team. If anything happens, these are the people that need to be the first to know. And it doesn't matter if your team is just one person, a friend helping out, or your partner supporting you with the logistics. They need to hear it first. A simple update is fine. Okay, we're starting 10 minutes later. Go ahead and start the welcome with this instead of that. Lunch is running a few minutes behind, so keep the guests in the room, and we're going to move into this exercise. When your team knows what's happening, they can help support you. Then we turn our attention to the guests. The guests don't need to know everything that's going on behind the scenes. They don't need the backstory. They don't need to know the situation that was going on with the vendor or the venue or the tech team. They don't care. They just need direction. The next step. A simple, there's been a slight timing adjustment, so go ahead and settle in, grab a drink, and we're going to begin shortly. Or we're gonna pause right here for a few moments so that we can reset the room. Feel free to stretch, take a walk, talk, connect, journal, and we'll be back to our regular program schedule in a moment. Clean, short, steady. Your calm tone becomes the room's calm tone. As I said, try to avoid oversharing. Oversharing happens when you feel flustered, you feel guilty, and then you try to explain the situation, like the vendor messed up, or start sharing what the AV team did, or who forgot something. Those details don't help your guests. All they do is invite speculation and distraction. Your role isn't to justify the change, it's to guide your guests through it. Keep your updates simple. You don't need polished lines, and you don't need to memorize everything and feel rehearsed. What matters in that moment is that the message is short, steady, and clear about what your guests need to do next. That's it. Your calmness keeps everyone oriented and helps to prevent a small change completely disrupting the room. Now, I do want to say that you can prepare for a lot, and you should. But there are just some things that you will never be able to plan for, because this is a real event happening in the real world. I have had a fire start in the middle of a conference room as we were transitioning from one session to the next as the speaker was preparing to go on stage. No one would have saw that coming. I've hosted a conference in Vancouver where there were wildfires in the region and guests were getting alerts about the situation, wondering if it was safe to attend. I've hosted retreats in Barcelona while they were having protests, and guests again getting alerts, wondering and being concerned about their safety. I've led events throughout Europe where airlines or the train industry has suddenly gone on strike. So all of a sudden, not only your guests, but our speakers are having to be rerouted in order to get there. None of these situations are things that live on, this is a possible situation that could occur list, okay? Because a lot of them are just things that you wouldn't expect to happen. What matters though is how you respond, how you stay calm, how you make pivots, how you communicate the next step, how you keep people moving. You can't plan for everything, but you can plan and create a structure for the things that you yourself can control. And when you have that kind of structure, you lead differently because you no longer have this pressure going on inside you, thinking about all the what ifs, because you have a plan in place. If you want to see how this preparation fits into the bigger picture, the next video on your screen walked you through the full back-end process. This is a system that supports your guest's journey, your operations, your timings, and your pivots from start to finish. And if you want ongoing retreat operations support as new videos come out, go ahead and click subscribe. That way you'll be notified when the next video comes. When you're ready, go ahead and click the video on your screen right now and I'll show you how all these pieces work together.